For crypto investors, the biggest question right now is this: what will the Federal Reserve decide about interest rates? This decision won't just shake traditional financial markets, it could rattle the entire crypto industry. Investor sentiment can flip within moments, making this a true do-or-die situation. Welcome to AI Crypto Pulse, where we bring you daily crypto updates, AI-driven insights, and the most important market trends, so you can always stay one step ahead. Now, let's slow down and unpack why this Fed rate decision matters so much, especially for Crypto.com's native token Crowcoin and for the altcoin market as a whole. Many people believe that a reduction in rates could trigger the long-awaited altcoin season, that period when alternative cryptocurrencies finally step into the spotlight and experience dramatic gains. But before you assume it's all upside from here, let's be clear. Markets rarely move in a straight line. Even though optimism is growing and we've seen some coins rise recently, there is always the possibility of a pullback, especially when big announcements are on the horizon. Take Bitcoin, for example. It has been showing strength, which usually sets the tone for the rest of the market. But history shows that before explosive rallies, there can often be sudden dips, moments when impatient traders exit early or when news creates uncertainty. That's why anyone keeping an eye on Crowcoin should be prepared for both scenarios, the potential for a sharp move higher and the possibility of a retracement before the next surge. So, what exactly is at stake with this rate decision? If the Federal Reserve decides to cut rates more aggressively than expected, say by 0.5 percentage point, it could act like jet fuel for risky assets, including cryptocurrencies. Such a move would lower borrowing costs, make cash savings less attractive, and push investors to look for higher returns in places like the stock market and digital assets. On the other hand, if the cut is more modest, perhaps just 0.25%, the rally might continue but with less intensity. And if investors see the Fed's move as a signal of economic weakness, it could actually spook markets, leading to temporary sell-offs in riskier investments like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Crowcoin. It's worth noting that even political figures are weighing in on this. The president's son, who has recently become deeply involved in the cryptocurrency space, has been vocal about his belief that digital assets are here to stay. Through his business ventures, including a Bitcoin-focused company listed on NASDAQ, he has positioned himself firmly on the side of crypto adoption. He argues that this is essentially a battle between crypto and traditional banking, with the younger generation and tech-driven investors leaning heavily toward digital assets. His view is that Fed rate cuts reduce the appeal of safe, interest-bearing products like government bonds, thereby encouraging more people to invest in speculative assets such as Bitcoin and altcoins. But, of course, his perspective comes with some bias. After all, he has direct investments in the industry. Still, his comments reflect a broader truth. Whenever central banks ease monetary policy, money tends to flow into riskier corners of the market. Historically, cryptocurrencies have often performed well during these cycles, although not always in a straight upward path. There are rallies, corrections, consolidations, and then renewed surges. And right now, many investors are wondering if the upcoming decision could light the spark for the next big move. Crowcoin, in particular, has been attracting a lot of attention. Despite a recent dip of about 10% over the past week, it still holds a strong ranking among the top cryptocurrencies. Analysts warn that if the market turns downward briefly, Crowcoin could revisit levels around 20 cents or possibly even dip towards 16 cents. But that's just one side of the story. On the other side, if Bitcoin pushes higher and Ethereum follows, Crowcoin could very well experience an explosive rally that surprises many. This brings us to another interesting development: the growing rivalry between Crypto.com and Binance. For years, Binance has dominated the exchange space, often operating with aggressive expansion tactics and a somewhat relaxed approach toward regulations. But times are changing. Crypto.com has steadily built its reputation as a highly regulated and compliant exchange, a platform that prioritizes partnerships and credibility over reckless growth. This difference in strategy is now starting to show results. Not long ago, the former CEO of Binance openly criticized Crypto.com, mocking its expensive marketing campaigns like Super Bowl ads and Formula One sponsorships. His comments suggested that Binance believed in relying more on grassroots user growth than flashy branding. But let's be honest, when a market leader starts targeting a competitor so directly, it usually means they're feeling the heat. And the numbers back this up. Crypto.com has been steadily gaining market share, while Binance has faced increasing regulatory scrutiny around the globe. The competition goes beyond marketing. Crypto.com has managed to secure strategic partnerships, including collaborations with major media groups, and they've announced the launch of a Cronos ETF, a move that positions Crowcoin and its ecosystem for mainstream financial exposure. Binance, meanwhile, has struggled to achieve similar wins, especially within the tightly regulated U.S. market. What makes this rivalry even more fascinating is how their tokens are performing. Crowcoin's recent trajectory from its lows to its current levels mirrors almost eerily the kind of growth Binance's token experienced in its early days. This parallel has sparked speculation that Crowcoin could outperform expectations in the coming bull cycle. Some even believe that Crypto.com as an exchange might eventually outpace Binance in terms of growth, user adoption, and market presence. Think about it. Crypto.com hasn't had the kind of leadership controversies that Binance has dealt with. It has steadily grown its user base, expanded its offerings, and aligned itself with regulatory frameworks. That's exactly the kind of foundation that institutional investors and mainstream users look for when deciding where to place their trust. Of course, none of this guarantees smooth sailing. The markets remain unpredictable, and volatility is part of the game. Rate cuts could trigger explosive gains, or they could lead to quick sell-offs before the next rally begins. But one thing is certain, Crowcoin and Crypto.com are better positioned now than they've ever been before. With strong partnerships, growing legitimacy, and increasing relevance in global markets, they are no longer just another exchange and token. They are becoming serious contenders for long-term dominance in the crypto space. So, as we await the Fed's decision, it's important to keep perspective. Whether the cut is a quarter of a point, half a point, or something else entirely, the broader narrative is that crypto has matured into an asset class that reacts directly to monetary policy decisions. That alone is a sign of how far this industry has come. Just a few years ago, digital assets existed largely on the fringes, seen as speculative bets with little connection to traditional finance. Now, central bank moves ripple through the crypto world as strongly as they do through stocks and bonds. And that's why investors in Crowcoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the wider altcoin market should be paying close attention. We may be on the edge of an exciting new chapter, one that brings both challenges and opportunities. If history is any guide, the road ahead will be anything but smooth. But for those prepared to weather the volatility, this could very well be the moment that sets the stage for the next major wave of growth in the digital asset space. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the latest crypto news and insights.